Welcome back to Astrovision, Spirituality, and Tarot. So obviously in this video, we're going to be discussing Beyonce's natal birth chart. I just want to let you guys know that there are two parts to this video. So the first video obviously has been uploaded. Check that out and then come back. All right, now I know we spent a heavy amount of time on Beyonce's moon sign, but I do want to jump into the aspects that can determine her having this queen status and being held in such high regards. And her moon was a part of that. You know, the sun obviously was a part of that. But now we're going to focus in on her Jupiter in Libra sitting in that 12th house. And with this makeup, this can play a role with her being in a girl group because Jupiter deals with multiples, Libra deals with partnerships, and the 12th house can represent anything artistic, and singing is a part of that. With this placement, this translates to her being overpowered in this area of her life, especially because Jupiter has the tendency of exaggerating its energy, and this can be overwhelming, especially to a Virgo such as Beyonce herself. So she very much so can be overpowered in this area of her life, or other people will be overpowering her. And Jupiter rules over Sagittarius, and the zodiac sign Sagittarius squares Virgo. So these two energies have a tough time getting along already. And speaking back on Beyonce being in a girl group, it's no secret that she was put in a position to be at the forefront of that group. She was put in a position to be the most marketable one, the one who always was under the spotlight. And she definitely was seen side-eyeing the other girls some of the times in her interviews, and that could be seen with a lot of Virgos. Virgos can be known for giving you the side eye. Same with the Gemini. They could be known for giving you a side eye. So she's known for doing that and just having some of this catty energy, having some of this HBIC energy, and that definitely overshadowed some of her moments within her group activities when she was a part of a girl group. And she definitely did this with full intention. She did this with purposeness because, again, this is Jupiter in Libra in the 12th house. And Jupiter is all about purposeness. You know what I'm saying? It's all about finding truths. So she definitely had intentions on overpowering people while being in the group and overseeing them, outshining them. And that's due to that Jupiter being in Libra sitting in that 12th house. So she isn't going to be like the best person to have in a group, but she very much so can work well in a group, and especially when it comes to expanding upon the energy that is present in that group. She definitely is going to be one of the people that is noticeable and that stands out. And again, also with her being a Virgo woman and her sun sitting in that 11th house, she's just going to be focused on standing out and being one of the group members that is seen as a leader. Because remember, Virgos tend to be very, very, very precise. Because you have to remember, Virgos are the sign of the perfectionist, and they do not like to do things half-assed. They like to do things correct and perfect the first time. So since she's a Virgo, but her Virgo sun sits in that 11th house, and she has this Jupiter in Libra in the 12th house makeup, whatever group that Beyonce is going to be placed in, she's going to want everything to be perfect and everything to be orderly. And in that aspect, she's going to be seen. You know, people are going to recognize her professionalism, and they're going to see her as the leader. This is going to put her in the position to be the leader of said group. So it was just a part of Beyonce's destiny, especially with this being some 12th house energy, and not a play on words or anything like that. You know, Destiny's Child, I know. Not a play on words, but it very much so is a part of her destiny, or was a part of her destiny, for her to become the leader of that girl group when she was in it. That can play a role with her father as well, because her father is, again, the owner of Destiny Child, and he did manage those girls in that group. And also a fun fact, Michelle Tanitra, I forgot her real name. I think it's like Tanitra or something like that. But Fun fact, she actually is from my hometown, so shout out to Michelle. Also, with Beyonce having Jupiter and Libra sitting in the 12th house, this can produce some difficulties with her ego, especially with just how she's going to be viewed in partnerships and in collaborations with other people. And you can definitely see this. She definitely malfunctions, and that is credited to Virgo. Virgo can take some credit for the malfunctions and the nervousness and the anxiety. And she does date Jay-Z, and Jay-Z is a Sagittarius man, and I don't know how their relationship works. I really don't, especially with Virgo squaring Sagittarius. This definitely is a challenged relationship, and just given this placement in general, everything that glitters isn't golden. So the relationship definitely could be suffering. She could be self-suffering in secret because that is what the 12th house represents on its lower vibration. She could be getting secretly abused and used or even tortured. She also could be tormented in her sleep and in her dreams, being haunted by demons. This is an energy where Beyonce very much so could be a host for some spirits. She could be a host for some other entities. So with it, I would be cautious. I would be very cautious if I was her of the people she just so happens to trust, because this is someone who likely has the tendency to trust in the kindness of strangers and trust in the kindness of others. So growing up, Beyonce very much so could have been very naive, especially when it comes to trusting her friends and trusting partners, people that she just so happened to take some likability to. She could have been stunned and found out what the truth was, how they truly felt about her, or what their true initial intentions were with her from the start, because Jupiter will bring you and grant you some truth. It's all about purpose. So with her having Jupiter and Libra deals with partnerships, but it's in that 12th house, she very much so could be devoted to Jay-Z. She could view that man like he's her savior. She could view him like she's his sacrifice. And since this is like a Jupiter and Pisces mix up, because the 12th house does govern Pisces. So since Beyonce does have Jupiter and Libra sitting in the 12th house, this is going to create a Jupiter and Pisces mix. And this combination is very much so like a spiritual connection or a religious connection when it comes to partners. But since we're talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce, I'm just going to flat out say that this potentially could be allegedly an occultish connection that they have, within their relationship and their partnership, or just some type of financial connection. It could be hardwired through the occult of how they partner and how they collaborate and how they form their union. It could be very dark and hidden, and the occult doesn't have to be dark. Occultish things don't have to be dark themed. They don't have to be looked at in such a negative way. It just means something that's very secret, something that's very sacred, if you will, in a sense. So just speaking about the occult could have some connection through that and have established marital ties through the occult. And it's nothing to speculate or have some type of conspiracy about, allegedly. I just believe that Beyonce is more prone to having some type of interest in darker themed things. And these things could be viewed as demonic or whatever you have it. And with her having so much Scorpio energy, I didn't talk about all of her placements. She has a Scorpio moon. She also has Lilith in Scorpio. She has Venus in Scorpio as well, I do believe. Or Scorpio is just aspecting her first house. So she does have a lot of Scorpio energy. So she is going to be someone who will be driven by these type of darker things that are more taboo and less talked about. And just back to speaking about her relationship with Jay-Z, who is again a Sagittarius man. As they say, everything glitters. I don't believe shit is golden when it comes to Beyonce's relationship with Jay-Z. I definitely believe that this was something set up and something that she signed up for, and she very much so know what she was getting herself into. But in the long run, it's very traumatizing. It's very suffering. It's very detrimental. And again, I just feel like Beyonce is the type of woman who will be devoted to a man like Jay-Z. Since she does have this Jupiter and Libra in the 12th house, she could just be too trusting, you know what I'm saying? And just be so naive to a point of delusion in partnerships to where now, she didn't let her husband or let the man that she loves so much convince her to put a chip in her brain. And now you come back with the brand new bionic Beyonce 3000 that can do anything you want at the click of a button because she was so gullible she fell for the trap. You know what I'm saying? And just alone with her having that Pluto and Libra, it's going to be apparent with a lot of people who have Pluto and Libra. That's a generational thing. A lot of these people get in relationships that are frowned upon. They're not looked at in the most respected way because of 9 times out of 10, how you get your partner is how you're going to lose your partner. So if you got your partner while he was cheating on his ex, he 9 times out of 10 is going to end up cheating on you, and that's how you can lose him. If you got your partner while you were sneaking around on somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's just that tenfold energy here having to come in play, especially when you are merging Jupiter and Libra in the 12th house. You know what I'm saying? That 12th house energy is all about the ancestors. It's all about that spiritual connection. And it's all about tenfold. And it's all about paying it forward. So anything that Jay-Z probably is doing to Beyonce on the down low, it's going to play out down the generation. You might see it not affect Beyonce. She may be very secretive about it. She may not never disclose any of these things that are traumatic and that are happening to her where she's suffering in silence. She may never talk about it, but you may see it take play down her generation. This may go on with her kids or something like that, because you have to be careful when you have any type of placements in the 12th house. Whatever energy it is that's in the 12th house, those areas of your life are going to have some type of spiritual connection and some type of spiritual protection. So, for example, if you have a Pisces moon, you know what I'm saying? If someone tries to hurt you and traumatize you emotionally or through your comfort zone and things like that, through family ties or whatever, that person may experience tenfold. They may experience that karma do a boomerang effect, and it may project whatever it was that they were trying to throw on that Pisces moon person back onto them. And so that's just how the 12th house energy can work in general. So whatever it is that Jay-Z is doing on the low or in secret, and this can go vice versa, you know what I'm saying? Beyonce could be doing this to him. It doesn't have to just be one-sided, and that's something to take into account when speaking on astrology in general. It goes both ways. So I know when I'm speaking on natal readings and stuff like that, I could have this tendency to speak in different perspectives and mainly hold one focus on one side, but it's really both-sided, so it can go hand in hand when we're talking about someone's natal chart. They have a tendency to display these strengths and weaknesses and hold on to these traits and produce this energy, but they also have a tendency to come in contact with this energy and submerge themselves with other people who have this energy. So, that's kind of how it can go. It goes hand in hand. It goes yin and yang. It's literally like vice versa. So I don't just want to make my videos one-sided. I do want you guys to understand that nobody's perfect. Nobody is totally just broken either. And everyone is very much so complex in their very own way and unique in their very own way. Also, another thing to notice with Beyonce having this makeup, Jupiter and Libra sitting in the 12th house, you just have to wonder sometimes if Beyonce is being controlled by Jay-Z or by some other source. Maybe her collaborators. Jupiter has to deal with collaborators. It deals with your partners. So this can be her label. This could be people that she's in business with. you just have to wonder if she is being controlled, because Beyonce is very consistent with the same body language, the same choreography. You know what I'm saying? She's very consistent with the same hairstyles. And in some aspects, in some scenarios, when she's caught out in public, because she's not in public often or really ever unless she's on a stage, she just seems to come off like a robot. You know what I'm saying? When she's caught in public and she's caught off guard, she's either like nodding back and forth, side to side. It's like she's singing in her head. You know what I'm saying? It's like she's like in her mind, trapped, imprisoned within her mind, but her outside body is like trying to function normal. And with her having Jupiter and Libra sitting in that 12th house, she very much so has the potential to be a host for spirits. And since we're talking about the 12th house, this is one of those houses where everything is distorted, things are diluted. You know, there's a lot of delusion. You're not seeing the initial full picture. Everything's being covered by its glitz and the glamour. You know what I'm saying? That's what the 12th house represents. With that being said, she will have the tendency to hide her dark-sided traits as well. And since it's the 12th house and this is Jupiter and Libra in the 12th, she's going to be more inclined to do that through the music and use spirituality as a crutch or as some type of device or some mechanism that she uses to hide behind. So she very much so can be the type of woman to hide behind, you know, this false image of a queen. You know what I'm saying? She could hide behind this false image of being a god. And literally, this Jupiter and Libra in the 12th house is an indication of someone being a leader of like a coven or a cult or something like that. She very much so can be positioned to be put in that spot to be seen as such. This is why the title of this video, I literally gave Beyonce the title as the Dark Hierophant. And the Hierophant literally in tarot is occultist. You know what I'm saying? It deals with the occult. It deals with religion. It deals with spirituality. And it deals with questions. And the reason why I called Beyonce the Dark Hierophant is because she's able to remain silent during times when her followers are coming to her for answers. You know what I'm saying? She's able to remain silent, and her silence is like misinterpreted by her fans, and it's translated through their inner circles, and it's only read amongst them. So they'll have some weird, especially because, you know, her Virgo sun sits in that 11th house. The 11th house is all about groups. And 11th house energy is very weird. It's very queer. It's different. So they'll have some very weird and queer way about communicating anything that Beyonce does. So if Beyonce puts an apple in her music video, now they think Apple iPhones are going to sell out next season. You know what I'm saying? The Beehive are weird like that. You know, Beyonce posts a picture of her smelling a lemon. Now they think it's a message. You know, her next album is going to be called Lemonade Part 2. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how this energy can work out. Since she's so silent, she's not known for really talking and really being communicative and social with her fans and the people that support her. This can translate to them doing the talking for her. So this is why you have a lot of those crazy ass fans jumping out of their necks for Beyonce and talking real slick and being real vicious, because they're vicariously living through her. You know what I'm saying? They literally look at her like she's a god, like she's a queen. You know what I'm saying? They are falsely idolizing her. And her silence doesn't help. But that is kind of what the Hierophant can represent. The Hierophant can represent, you know, the silent preacher, someone who you come to for an interpretation, you come to for answers, but they are telling you to look within yourself, or to look within tradition, or to look outside of tradition. And especially on that darker side, the Hierophant in reverse can represent someone being a nonconformist. And I for sure think Beyonce can resonate with being a nonconformist, because She is held in such high regards. She's probably detached from the social norms and what is normal amongst pop culture in the mainstream. You know, I'm pretty sure she keeps her ears to the streets for some things, but in everyday life in general, just socializing with the common person, she probably is very, very extremely detached. And with her having Jupiter sitting in the 11th house, this can deal with Beyonce creating this worldwide cult, aka, you know, the beehive. This can deal with that. And especially since this is 12th house energy, the members of this cult, they're going to be inclined to faithfully following their leader to a point of delusion and self-suffering, even if they never met this person and they can't see them. You know what I'm saying? Because the 12th house is all about, you know, delusions and illusions and things being distorted. It's literally about the things that you can't see. The 12th house represents fantasy. It can represent religion as well. So religious stories. It even represents God, you know, a figure who people pray to, but they cannot physically see. They cannot physically have some type of personal one-on-one connection with that is tangible, basically. So with 12th house energy, people who are fans of her, they're going to be devoted to following this woman and viewing her as a queen, viewing her as a god, and just holding her in such high standards. And again, this can backfire on Beyonce herself because basically, with this energy, and again, Doja Cat is another celebrity who has a ton of 12th house energy, that is just very challenged, you know. And if you guys want to check out that video, it's linked below or it's listed on my channel. If you scroll down, you can see it. But people who have a lot of 12th house energy, these are your modern day celebrities, your modern day artists, you know, but these are also people who are dead, you know, celebrities who are dead but still notorious, people who may have died and their story was so traumatic that it still lives on. The 12th house can also represent artists, and it can represent, you know, the struggling artists, people who maybe never have hit it big or achieved the success that they initially set out to achieve with their paintings and their sculptures. And so now they're getting high in the basement. Now they're escaping and they're running from their problems by doing drugs. Now they're homeless and they're living on the street, or maybe they're in an asylum. So this can backfire on Beyonce to where her relationships that she has with other people, you know, the collaborators in her life, the business partners, all that, her friends, lovers, people that she finds a likability within, they will never truly see her deep down at the core, on her soul, at the base of who she is. These people will never truly see Beyonce in such a way to where she can truly let her guard down. She can truly escape with them, and she can just be herself. You know what I'm saying? They'll never view her in that way. They'll always see her as some type of mystical being, some type of god, or some type of queen. And that is just due to this Jupiter and Libra sitting in the 12th house. This energy very much so can provide a lot of light, a lot of abundance, a lot of luck, but that can quickly be overshadowed by the darkness of the 12th house. So the 12th house is no fun or games to play with. It can produce a lot of intense depressive moments, and these moments will be hidden. You know what I'm saying? These moments are hidden and they're masked by a smile, or they're masked by the glitz and the glam. They're masked by makeup or plastic surgery or whatever it is that 12th house person chooses to hide their trauma with. And since Beyonce's fans already view her as a queen and they see her as this godly figure, in that way, she kind of started to self-proclaim herself, or, you know, really take ownership of that title and start rocking it, you know, really rocking this image of being like this queen or this mystical godly figure. And this can go both ways, you know what I'm saying? She very much so can just have to watch out for this energy, because she could be detached from people that she love and care about, and really just be comfortable in sitting in that dark-sided narcissistic energy of Jupiter and pretending to be a god and pretending to be a queen, you know what I'm saying? Hiding on her properties, hiding on her private jets, but deep down she's suffering. You know, it's too much pressure keeping up with all of this fake facade. It's too much, and it can produce a lot of health scares. It can produce a lot of, you know, lack of social activity with the everyday person, and it could just cause her to be disassociated and produce a lot of nervousness. You know what I'm saying? So she just has to be careful with this makeup in general, that Jupiter and Libra 12th house energy. That very much so can be dangerous because it's all fun and games at first, you know what I'm saying? Especially when we're talking about that Jupiter and Pisces mixture. It's all fun and games at first, especially because you got Libra there. You could just be very comfortable in it, but it can go dark very, very quick if you're not careful. And the energy of the 12th house, these people have a tendency to be naive. They have a tendency to be gullible. And it can cause them to later be distressed because they will be taken advantage of. There's so many sharks out there that will sniff them out and take advantage of their talents, take advantage of their work ethic, of their artistry, of their intellectual ideas, you know what I'm saying, of their eclectic ways of thinking. People will take advantage of that. So she just has to be careful with that 12th house energy. You know what I'm saying? And another thing to focus in on that potentially has put her in this spot to be held as a queen in her industry of being a musician is the fact that Beyonce has Saturn in Libra sitting in the 12th house. So this deals with her strong genes and her lineage of children being able to look like her and look like her ancestors. And trust me, I know I have Venus in Capricorn, so I can go in the family book pictures and go in the family albums, and I know where I come from. I look like my people. I look like my ancestors. And this is going to be true for anyone who has Venus in Capricorn or having any strong positive aspects with their Venus being made to Capricorn. So just along with her having Saturn in Libra sitting in the 12th house, this is going to play a role with her children really looking like her, and they can identify and know where their facial features come from and where their beauty comes from and their strong bones and all of that stuff. And since it's Saturn and Saturn deals with the father, this more so will have to be her father that has the strong genes in her family. He's probably the one that's given her the good genes and the genes that are more able to be replicated, and the genes that are more likable and able to be replicated and mirrored down the family tree or whatever. Saturn and Libra can also represent Beyonce's father, putting her in the position to build such strong connections that helped her become this mega superstar that's like worldwide and held in such high regard, you know, this household name. Her father basically put her in that position, and Saturn and Libra can take some credit for that. And he also very much so could be one of her abusers because, again, it's Saturn and Libra sitting in the 12th house, and the 12th house can deal with abuse. It can deal with torture. It can deal with sacrifice and someone having to suffer. So with this energy sitting in that 12th house, things very much so could be distorted when it comes to her family. There could be a lot of delusions and a lot of things that aren't real. And this could even point to Beyonce having an imaginative relationship with her own father. So it could appear that he may have been present in her life, but that actually probably wasn't the case for real. You know what I'm saying? Especially since Saturn's in Libra and it's sitting in the 12th house. So her dad could have stepped out with multiple partners in secret and had like different families outside of the one that he created. And it's apparent, you know, Beyonce does have step siblings. So this energy does play out in real life for Beyonce and holds some accountability to those issues and those areas within her life. Also, her father could just be prone, you know, to being less likable because this is Saturn and Libra. So this is a energy that you have to learn to like. You have to learn to respect this energy. So she probably had to learn to love her father and learn to respect his ways and his viewpoints and his ideologies on things. And at times, she very much so could have been lost and just very much so did not understand anything that he was talking about, especially because she's a Virgo woman. And this is Saturn in Libra sitting in that 12th house. So she could have been just very much so confused a lot of the times when it came to how her father managed to control her and raise her or even manage her career at times. Saturn does deal with the career as well. So she could have been confused and misled or misguided at times by her own father. And it's no secret that Matthew knows, he allegedly is very, very similar to Michael Jackson's father, who is another mega superstar that they love to compare to Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? They love to compare apples to oranges. They love to compare Beyonce to Michael Jackson for somewhat odd reason. I don't know. But they do have similar childhood upbringings. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly, her father, Matthew Knowles, is very similar to Joe Jackson. And Joe Jackson was a very abusive father. He was one of the stage dads who did not play. And he wanted his kids to be perfect and get things right and nail it on the head each and every time. And when they didn't, he allegedly was very abusive and he would torture them and he would cause a lot of trauma on them. So this is allegedly said to be true for Matthew Knowles as well when it comes to Beyonce. He probably was even restricted with his emotions and what he was able to show in front of his daughter. He probably didn't even allow a lot of his emotions to be shown in the house. With Saturn and Libra being in the 12th house, a lot of his emotions could have been faked in public to remain, cordial amongst other people, but at home behind closed doors, he could have been an evil, unlikable character, someone that's hard to deal with. And again, just with Beyonce having Saturn and Libra sitting in that 12th house, this is going to deal with her being this highly respected business partner, and she's potentially going to have a lot of heavy hitting connections that expands decades long. You know what I'm saying? These are connections that expand upon years because it's Saturn and Libra that we're discussing. And with this can provide her a lot of protection in her career. This can even provide her an easier ride in this area of the music biz more quicker than other people. It'll be more comfortable for her. And it's not to say that the workload or anything like that is going to be just easy for her and she's just going to have it like it's a slice of cake. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying since it's Saturn in Libra and it's in that 12th house, this is a place where someone could just be comfortable to a self-sacrificing point. This can produce the type of person who actually loves what they do for work and it contributes to their reputation. It rubs off on their reputation. And it's kind of like this spinning door effect. So these type of people, they do not like to leave the office. They're comfortable doing what they love for work. They enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? These people have deep attachment issues to their job. They're going to be obsessed with what they're doing. They're going to lose track of the days. They're going to lose track of the time, and they're not going to want to quit or go home. These people won't even have the impulse or the interest to clock off of work early or anything like that. If they have some paid time off, they're not going to even take it because they love their job and they love what they do. So these are the type of people who have to be told to go home. You're doing a good job. We love what you're doing in the office, but we just need you to take a break. We need you to go clean up. We need you to freshen up. This very much so is that energy because someone with Saturn and Libra in the 12th house very much so could be a workaholic and they just are more so inclined to like what they do and enjoy what they do for work. Now, with Beyonce having a Capricorn South node, these are the type of people who are naturally focused on having a career, and if they don't have one yet, they'll be focused on whatever hobby it is. Maybe it's college, maybe it's a part-time job. These people will be focused on that, and they will maintain that until they can build some financial stability to put them in a better position. So these people will be focused on building their careers. And one thing that I noticed with Capricorn South nodes is the fact that they have a tendency to be mean and cold-hearted, okay? And this is because Capricorn opposes Cancer, and Cancer is known for all of the emotional fluff, and Capricorn tends to suppress that stuff. So Cancer is known for emotional fulfillment and really gaining value with emotional connection and bonds with other people. But since Capricorn is the opposite of that energy, they don't need to build emotional connections or establish these emotional bonds with people for them to achieve the success that they set out for themselves. So since she does have this Capricorn South node, it's going to be a challenge for her to really express her emotions and even, gain some type of emotional fulfillment when it comes to family values and family ties and traditional things. She could just have a hard time conforming to the things that are seen as traditional amongst family views. And she really could just struggle with how to show her emotions in the proper way. You know what I'm saying? She could really restrict a lot of her emotions and suppress them and throw them to the side and sweep them under the rug and forget about it. That's how a lot of Capricorn South nodes can operate. You know what I'm saying? They tend to focus in on what's going to put them in a better position for the next day. So these people aren't too focused on how they're feeling, and they're not going to focus in on that for too long because they know that they have bigger fish to fry. Capricorn South nodes are natural loners, and they're comfortable being their own best friend. So don't forget that a Capricorn South node also can have a lot of haters. If you checked out my video on which signs you should not become an enemy of, then you would know Capricorns naturally is one of the signs to have the most haters. And it's because if you have a Capricorn South node like myself or like Beyonce, you simply are prone to having a better reputation than most people. And that is due to Capricorn being the most respected sign out of the 12 zodiac signs in general. And even if, you're a Capricorn South node with a questionable past, maybe you had to sell dope, or, you were a stripper, whatever it was, you did something to make money or to put yourself in a financially secure spot, or maybe you did something so that you could gain career achievements, or maybe it was something sketchy that you had to do, or a Capricorn South node that they had to do something sketchy to get a promotion or something like that. A Capricorn South node very much so is going to be down with that type of time, and they're going to get it how they live in that way, and in the end result they still could have a good reputation. You know what I'm saying? A Capricorn could be known as a villainified bully back in school who was just slapping people around, beating them up, but then 10-20 years later they own a couple facilities, they staff runaway kids, they host charity events, bingo nights for the elderly. You know what I'm saying? They own things. They're a mover and a shaker, and people respect them. So it was like whatever they did in their past when they were the doughboy on the block, or they were just the bully in class bullying people aren't going to hold them in that past version of who they were. People will look at a Capricorn and see their growth. They will see them excel to the top of that mountain. And that's literally what Capricorn is all about. So just with her having this South node, or this Capricorn South node, she's just going to be prone to being very disliked. A lot of Capricorns earlier in life, they can be very disliked. A lot of people tend to not respect the energy of Capricorn or Saturn until later, after the lessons have been learned and the consequences have been produced. That is when people tend to respect this energy. So since she has a Capricorn South node, she's just going to be seen as this bitchy person, this very mean person who's reserved and cold off and restricts her affection or restricts her moods and how she truly feels about people. So she could just come off as cold-hearted at times. And this is very true to a lot of people who have Capricorn South nodes. And some examples, just some quick ones, are like Johnny Depp. Also, Keisha Cole is another one. And that's ironic because Beyonce and Keisha Cole both had a little hiccup, or really Keisha was beefing with herself. And you'll see with a lot of Capricorns or people who have Capricorn energy, their haters 9 times out of 10 will be beefing with themselves, because Capricorns will not respond to their haters. They'll just keep producing consequences. So in the eyes of a Capricorn, their biggest punishment to their enemy or to their hater is going to be their success. Nicki Minaj is another woman who has a Capricorn South node, and she's just very, very disliked. It's like you either like her or you don't like her. Also, Tasha K, another South node, another Capricorn South node. Very, very messy. But again, she is good at what she does. And these people can have a lot of haters. A lot of people don't like them, but you have to respect them because they're very resourceful. They're very resourceful, and that energy is needed. You know what I'm saying? Especially just throughout life. It's something that's learned to be valued and appreciate in the future. You know, Capricorn is all about preparing for the future. So this energy is something that you have to grow to like and grow to respect. And since Beyonce does have this Capricorn South node, it's very apparent that, you know, when she came out from Destiny's Child and from her girl group, she went solo and got a lot of hate. People just thought that she acted better than her group mates, and she acted better than how she put on and things like that. So Beyonce definitely represents that Capricorn South node energy all too well. You know, when she went solo from Destiny's Child, she definitely had it hard with people thinking that she was standoffish and thinking that she was better than her group mates and all of that stuff. So, and even still to this day, she still gets a lot of hate. People just naturally dislike her. And then you have people who may not even be interested in her, may not even care about what she does or her music or the messages that she puts out. There's some people who really do not care, but they still respect the fact that she's this household name artist that's a mega star and that has maintained her spot in her position for such a long time. That's just something that you cannot write off without giving it a round of applause and, like, you know, commending that achievement. So I want to close this video out here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.